Hi Leo, I love you, honey. Yes, you're gonna hear birds because they have the back door open. It's supposed to storm today in Kentucky. I love storms. I love thunder. I love lightning. I love you, Leo. So let's see. This is gonna be batch person. Thoughts, emotions, and actions, honey. It's the #1 reading this week. It has been for the last 3 weeks. We do it with 2 birth dates. Let's see. For Leo. Holy angels, Holy spirits, to the divine above, angels and ancestor gods, for Leo. Criticizing one another will only lead further to unhappiness. Surrender to the new beginning. Oh my goodness. A new adventure awaits. Let there be closeness between you. Oh, so close, but yet so far, they say. So let's see what this is doing. Person most on Leo's mind. What are they thinking when it comes to Leo? Criticizing one another. They're going to stop it. If you could do anything, what would it be? This person is recognizing that you no longer deserve to be criticized. Probably not understanding why you're being criticized anyway. Interesting. And their emotions. When it comes to Leo, Leo, you touched the nerve, baby. Yes, you have. In this person's emotions. They're thinking you're the heart of the gateway to their soul. So let's see what comes out in their heart. Beware of what you are projecting for the qualities you admire in one another. Uh-oh. They see you as a mirror now. They see you as an emotional mirror. Imagine all the unwanted thoughts dissolving into light. My goodness. What did you do to this person? The action that they're going to plan taking is look inside themselves. Look inside yourself. Examine what's causing you to feel this way. Sacred union. Look. Oh, emotions are natural after they're healed. You ever seen somebody fake cry? They never have a tear drop. When somebody really cries, their face don't even make the expression before a tear comes down their face, you know? This person's realizing what false emotions feels like. Let's see. Amazing reading. Leo, your person. What's on their mind? Oh, come here, baby. Rise, baby, rise. They're going to follow through with their rise. That's what they're thinking. Integrate your knowing. They have put some wisdom together by what they've learned since they've met you. You might be the only one that makes it make sense because since meeting you, they've never felt a realm like that before. They never felt a realm before that. And they haven't felt one after that. Emotions. Raw intention, indeed, changes. I don't think they're going to be holding back anymore. I think they're going to be speaking up to how they feel, regardless of what anyone says. Creator water, what's your honest truth? There you go. They're manifesting themselves to be able to speak out emotionally. The action they plan on taking, looking inside yourself, inside this sacred union. Your soul shines. You are epic. Look at that. Going back to the elemental. In the elemental, they're going back to study. They're going to study exactly what they're going to study. The spiritual sacral union is what they're studying. Let's see what triggered them. I wasn't going to pull these, but yeah. This is the trigger deck. Wysper trigger deck. What part of Leo triggers this person? In each of these elements here. What part of Leo triggers this person? In thought. Feisty. You didn't hold back. Afraid is the 9 wands. Maybe after you had to get feisty about something, they reconsidered why you had to do that. What triggers their emotions through Leo? What does Leo have that triggers their emotions? Honey, you shining bright like a diamond, honey. You oh, shining bright like a diamond. The emperor saw you shining, or this is an emperor shining, high vibing. They ignored the high vibe, heartbroken. They're guilty of breaking your heart. When you meet your match, if you get into an argument, you might know them for just a little bit. You get into an argument, they're like, well, fuck you then. And you say back, no, fuck you. Nobody's ever talked back to this person. No one has ever talked back to this person, and they felt it in their soul. That's what triggered. Woo! Raw intentions, baby. You had nothing to hide, nothing to fear. Shining bright like a diamond is the sun. That's a naked baby on a white pony with a lot of sunflower seeds in the back. Yeah, plenty for everyone. What triggers their action? They no longer want to be insecure, or you're not insecure. No longer being insecure. Their shame of being insecure, high priestess, divine feminine. You didn't let the insecurity poke you at all. You might have actually told them, well, you shouldn't be so shameful. Let's clarify that part. Leo. Woo. Your higher self talked to them before your mouth ever opened. I'm asking, what did they say? They said no. How's that gonna happen? Impatient and passionate. Leo has no patience when they're interested. Leo never second guesses an interest. An ascended Leo will always get what they want because they don't go by man-made law. They go by the ones that they control, which is the divine above. Let's clarify. Your person, baby. Leo. Holy angels, Holy spirits, to the divine above, angels and ancestor guides, for the Leos that watch this channel. Their persons. T. So what they're thinking about, criticizing one another will only lead to further unhappiness. Love and accept each other as you are, and your relationship will magically transform. They're asking themselves, if they could do anything, what would it be? The answer dwells in your heart, not in your mind. Because once you get your heart straight, your mind will follow. For the heart is a gateway to your soul. You opened the gate nobody else had the key to. What they think about you following through with rise, Phoenix rising, and is what triggered them. They're reconsidering what made you feisty, what made you tick. Curiously, emotionally confused, looking for something while in an emotional illusion. There's that 9 wands. That's the reconsideration of what they commit to in judgment. Oh. Without some sort of conversation with you, they would not have been able to make a final judgment. Well, let's clarify that final judgment that you allowed them to, or you helped them do. Page of Wands. You helped them find the interest. You helped them to initiate a craft, maybe. Let me clarify. Communication. It's interesting communication. What you said, it sparked something. It sparked a manifestation. It sparked an interest. So is what I would like to do now is clarify what that Eight of Wands is. Whatever you said, it was a feisty conversation. It left them guarded, left them speechless. Why did it leave them speechless? Queen of Swords initiated the contract with the Queen of Swords. Was a wish, intuitive wish. Okay, Leo, don't tell these people what you're manifesting on them to have to pay you back. You told them you stood your ground. You intuitively made a wish to initiate the Queen of Swords. You manifested them a karmic. Allow me to clarify the Queen of Swords. Who is... It's the King of Swords in reverse. I told you, a karmic twin. Boom, shakalaka. Shocking revelation of a path chosen of passion. The feminine knew... There's a feminine knew that this was her masculine. Or it's a man that knew, you know, Libra energy. It is a feminine energy. When you're in the Queen of Swords in the upright, you're very smart, very strategic. But... Why would Leo manifest this Queen of Swords for this person? Excuse me, Leo. Why would? Because you had to hold back. You had to step back from this plan and preparation. What was Leo blocked out of? Taking control. Preparing to take control. Who's preparing to take control? Yep. It's not the right time. The Queen of Cups. Alright. So this Queen of Swords, she is not investing in emotions here. She is actually here. It's a third party challenge of confusion. She come in with swords. She come in with swords. This person was brought in to put your person in confusion of what they needed to reconsider when something is spoken out loud. What does this Queen of Swords have to do with the Divine Masculine in this reading in the Eight of Wands? Six Pentacles. They have to level with the manifestation. They got paid back. They have to pay back. Alone in their own power. Look, this Empress. Look, look, look. Brought the dark. This is a masculine that brought the dark side to the feminine. Well, honey, that's trickery that's going to be leveled straight out. That's why the Queen of Swords was sent. What did this masculine do so mean to the feminine? Your intuition wished for a contract with the karmic. You told your higher self how you were feeling, and your higher self made the final judgment. That's why you got those angels up there. What's this person wish they did now different? What do they wish they did different? They wish they would have got on the cycle. That's the Wheel of Fortune, the change, the turning point in life. Nothing will ever be the same again. Could be a justified cycle, could be a karmic cycle. They wish they would have made a stand without support. That's sexual immaturity causing heartbreak. Look at that. There's the Four of Cups. They wish they would have stood up for the offer. They're realizing now that they were tested. They took the wrong offer. What did Leo's higher self say to this Queen of Swords, Libra energy? Go back. You actually said you give them an ultimatum for a risk and a blessing. Take a risk and a blessing. You started slow. So what is the divine telling this Queen of Swords? Your person is guarded, really guarded. It's time to master the masculine, following through with the offer. It's like they sent them in to test this masculine and where they are, sexual immaturity through heartbreak, making it stand. This Queen of Swords was sent in for a test to see if the masculine would deny having sex with her. So the feminine, she manifested payback. Where is the masculine with this Queen of Swords? Ten Pentacle. Mercy. So this doesn't make any sense. I asked where they was with the Queen of Swords. It says spiritually enlightened on legacy. Yeah, look at that 15 swords. Challenge, conflict, drama, competition, strife, and jealousy times 3. Should have chose a different path of interest. Went the wrong way. Turned the wheel backwards. Man. So through this Queen of Swords, there's a masculine here that found what his legacy actually is. Happiness, bliss, naked baby on the pony. He's going to have to open up to something to be abundant. What is he going to have to open up to? What's the sun? The risk. He's got to risk the truth. Hope, faith, balance, renewal. He's got to be able to take a risk for a renewal. Well, why is he so guarded? Why is this person so guarded? Because they're not at peace at where they went. They didn't find peace at where they went. Well, that's probably why they're going to be talking to the divine. Because right here in their emotions, beware of what you are projecting. So now they're going to be aware of what they're putting out in the energy. For the qualities of your administrations in one another are the qualities you both possess. Equally so, the qualities you don't like are also your own reflection. Imagine all of the unwanted thoughts dissolving into light, creating room for new opportunities and possibilities for your life. Wow. Let's see what this is. Through raw intention, some sort of change. This is an emotional change. You didn't care if you hurt somebody's feelings because they was going to love you for it later. You knew that. The Sun and the Emperor. Right here could have been what enlightened a masculine energy. In their emotions, they have the Fool and the Six of Swords. They're ready to take a risk. They're going to release something where they've been divinely guided away from it, so they can find peace and contentment where they can hear themselves think. And there, honey, the King of Wands, this is a masculine that is going to take control. Oh goodness. In the Lover's connection, they're gonna come a complete circle with the divine lover. This is your person has come a complete circle with the divine lover. A divine union, sacral union. So it's what they're doing now. They're mirroring your energy. They're seeing how much you're really alike, but so different at the same time. And that's hard to take. Yeah. Breaker 1-9. It's heavy judgment. They're calling heavy judgment on themselves. For this masculine to come together. Oh gosh. Interested in Leo, emotionally walking away from the preparation. They know that if they come into you flirtatiously and stuff like that, like if you catch them looking at your boobs and stuff like that, you're going to say something. They can't be flirtatious. So, what is the final judgment here? The Breaker 1-9. They're waking up their ancestors. They're making a final and firm decision to reflect on the contract now. They have to level with the Queen of Cups. So this Queen of Swords, she had a mask. This Queen of Cups was heartbroken, and that was the level It was supposed to level with ending that cycle, to be able to take a risk as King of Wands, to focus on the confusion in the past, looking to be emotionally controlled, emotionally complete, while analyzing the low vibe spiritually. Friends and the family. So your person might have been talking to some people about the spiritual realm. Well, not everybody's going to understand you. So anybody that's not awakened, just don't even waste your breath. Is what you are being told, person of Leo. So in their emotions, they're reflecting. They're doing a lot of soul reflecting here. And this is the star and the lantern. They're reflecting on that hope, faith, balance, renewal. They're looking for the truth of a contract of judgment of why they're carrying what they're carrying. They want to clarify the judgment. What's in that 10 wands? It's what they got to drop to get the ace. A new perspective on how to rebuild a foundation. Gonna have to start communicating. Yeah. The tower has either hit to end the situation, or it will hit. This masculine is going to say something very smart and intelligent, and it's going to rebuild with the perspective. It's like he's got his own language. Where's this masculine in judgment and ascension after acknowledging what was said with the new perspective? Yeah, the Queen of Pentacles. Who's the Queen of Pentacles? King of Cups. Capricorn and Scorpio energy. So this is an ex of a Scorpio. Used to be in a contract. Well, what happened? Who's this Queen of Pentacles? What's got to do with Leo? She showed them the truth. Giving them faith and hope after a dead end. 10 swords. What's the Queen of Cups got to do with the Queen of Swords? A wish fulfillment of incessant through heartbreak. She's wearing a mask. The Queen of Cups, the Cancer energy, she didn't even love herself. So when she connected to this masculine, he's really thinking, so what's that got to do with the Leo feminine? What's shining bright like a diamond with the Emperor? To the raw intentions of change. It's in reverse. Not moving forward victoriously because the Queen of Cups is in reverse. She's a karmic. The moon is in reverse. Well, the secret is out. Now, this masculine knows exactly. He's unemotionally fulfilled with the judgment that has been called because he needs to stand his ground alone without support of an offer of the divine. So this is a masculine that did not ask for the divine guidance. But it looks like that's what's changing. All because of you. You can't fight spiritual warfare with man-made law. They don't know the law. They only know what's on paper. Let me fix the table. Make sure you're going to see the spread. So far it's been a hell of a ride, right? Let's see. You might not have been talking to this person for a while. What's the situation? No contact. Well, it's because you're in spiritual court. Emotionally confused at the crossroads. Justice and judgment. You're trying to break a breaker 1-9, calling on the divine. Father, can you hear me? You're calling judgment for this to be spiritually balanced. Spiritual warfare. Spiritual court. Don't ever correct on earth what needs to be corrected in heaven. You cannot correct a divine law with man-made utensils. The action they're going to plan taken is they're going to look inside themselves, examine what is causing them to feel this way. Because through this sacred union, they're learning how to honor and treasure your relationship, for it is truly sacred. They've never met anyone like you. They're looking at you as epic, and as your soul shining. Like, not too many people can see your light until they freaking see it. Woo! And is what triggered them here in their action. You might have said no. How are you going to do that? What did Leo say? Yep. Judgment, breaker 19, calling on the divine. Father, couldn't hear me. Leo, you called for judgment because emotionally confused about why you were left hanging in the path of interest to be able to rebuild with boundaries. You set boundaries. They didn't build with you because you had boundaries. You had rules. And most of your rules make the divine. He was trying to give them a head start on the test. They were struggling with making a stand. Look. Toxic love. Intuitive devil. This person got a choice of a divine love and toxic love. They picked the one that was most easy. The one that they could do anything they wanted to. Get by with just about anything, because whoever that Queen of Cups is in reverse, she's the karmic. She was a needy person. The Queen of Cups in reverse, what does she have to do with the Divine Feminine in this reading? Nothing. The Divine Feminine in this reading is independently owned. Independent legacy. She has nothing to do with the Queen of Cups in reverse. Where is this person at right now while they're looking inside themselves because of what happened to Leo? They're heartbroken. Look, there's 9 swords. Deception, interference, and heartbreak. There's 7 cups. What is that? Confused friends? What's the 9 of Cups? So this is someone that allowed friends to interfere in the soulmate connection coming together. They just pulled their emotions out. They're like, I'm sorry, but I just gotta go. What do they wish they would have done different? Oh, the masculine's in reverse and the sun. They wasn't ready to be enlightened on how nervous and afraid they was. Well, if you're a collective and if you have, your souls have connected, you can feel each other's tension. You can feel each other's tension. You don't have to open your mouth to anything. Leo, what did you, let me see. Did you feel any tension when you met this person? And if you did, what was the tension you felt? Look. Spiritual tension. You've analyzed the realm. You have took your time in spiritually investing in your power. You know what this shit feels like. There's that 9 wands. You've set boundaries at the crossroads. You set those boundaries when somebody was blocked you from transitioning. You set boundaries when somebody blocked you from finding emotional peace within yourself. Those boundaries wasn't even set because of this person. They were set before you met this person. What does this person see in Leo today that they didn't see when they first met Leo? What do they see today? When you come together, oh look, it's raw intentions, you change them. When you come together, Divine Feminine, that's celebrating, coming together. Let me see what's at the bottom. Look, 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 look. You come with clarity. Oh my gosh. When this feminine walked up to the masculine, she did not only come with clarity, he felt her fucking energy. You know those big machines when they come up to you and it just like a woof there? This feminine, that's exactly what she did. And it confused this person. That initiated the confusion right there. Very interesting spark, but a confusing spark. What did this feminine bring that no other feminine brought this person? She hid. Behind the scenes, she was vibrant. She didn't get feisty until she got feisty at with. It come at her first. Secretly, she hid her vibrancy, her confidence, the way she carried herself, because she called for judgment on this Queen of Cups, unemotionally fulfilled with having to leave the challenge behind. This is a feminine fire sign that wasn't able to say anything because she's not a homewrecker. I don't know how many times we have to say that. The Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups. That Queen of Wands, she initiated a whole nother contract. But feminine, you brought clarity. When you come together, you brought clarity of who you was, the power you carried. You didn't lie. It was clear to this masculine. Trying to block the tower for destiny. Trying to control the tower. Somebody's trying to hold the tower back, but they're not going to be able to hold for much longer. What is in the tower? The boom shakalaka. Well, it's going to be nothing but success. Whichever one of you pulled your emotions away from the other is going to successfully recognize that that was your internal challenge. It was your conflict. It was your challenge to make a stand. If the masculine could say one thing to this feminine, what would he say? Justice, baby. Don't ever correct on earth what needs to be corrected in heaven. That's spiritually balanced. He could be married. Spiritually balanced family making a stand clearly. Okay, so he's halting the tower because he's got to be true to where he stands. He's got to clarify what's testing him. Well, what's justice in 10 cups? Ignoring the passionate beginning. Looking for the wheel of fortune. Look. Acknowledging your power, looking for destiny. Well, what's that got to do with this person? There's the Ace of Swords hidden. They're blocked because of the third party. There's something they don't know. What do they need to do about the third party? You better be justifying it by the divine instead of trying to justify it to someone else. The divine is telling this person, I'm sorry you're trying to follow through, but it is lowering down your vibe to where you need to bring your vibe up to where you can think straight, alone, in thought. Trusting something that's not peaceful. Well, you are divinely guided to leave anything behind that's causing your mentality to have these swords stuck in it, allowing your mind to be used as a pin cushion. They want you to no longer support anything you don't understand, masculine. And that, my friend, you're going to be able to plan and prepare to turn your back on things that you're no longer interested in, where you can go find your throne. Because of this emotional confusion needs to be analyzed, looked into a little deeper. They want you to slow down your emotional confusion because it's causing stress, anxiety, and sleepless nights on a level. It's causing the level of distress. That equal give and take over here is the Magician. So this person needs to be careful what they think about during the day because they're dreaming about it at night. And there's the Queen of Cups. Yeah, they're in love with the Queen of Cups. But in divine timing, they're going to master this path of interest with boundaries. Okay, so reconsidering the path of interest to master divine timing. What's being reconsidered here? What's this Emperor reconsidering? Oh, the divine union. Boom shakalaka. Shocking revelation of a divine lover. They know the truth now. They know the spiritual truth. They know they're going to have to truthfully transition hope, faith, balance, renewal of a lover's connection through a tower. The only way to get to the lover is make a tower happen. Yeah. Why does this masculine feel so pressured by the divine? There's your 2 pentacles. Because they're struggling with what happened in the past. There you go. King of Cups. Queen of Pentacles. The masculine, to make himself feel loved, he could have committed to someone. Yep, and it's nothing but a bunch of wasted resources. He knows that he's going to have to leave it behind, only taking his necessities and nothing of his wants. He knows to do that. He has to say it out loud. He has to speak out loud, some sort of enlightenment. He's unemotionally fulfilled with the sexual challenges. He's going to bring that down a notch, the initiation of an empress. He's interested in being free from this marriage. Or the 4 of Wands. He wants to take a risk on the twin flame connection. Making a stand until there's nothing else fucking left. He is going to fight for this Queen of Wands until he has nothing else left. Where is this masculine? He's taking control of what's coming in and his challenges. Look, he's keeping he's keeping this feminine behind the scenes, the Queen of Wands. Look, because she has clarified his fucking devil. He is keeping her behind the scenes, hidden from the Empress. The Queen of Wands clarified his devils, his demons. This masculine wouldn't have never, or feminine wouldn't have never found his devils if it wasn't for the counterpart. What's in the devil? That's that 8 swords in reverse. Releasing and negative thoughts. It brings the positive energy back. Releasing the negative thoughts. Needing to master negative thoughts. So you told someone that they need to be careful with how they think, because how they think, that's the energy they're going to project. Woo! I'm going to ask, what do they see more clearly now than they did before? Let's get it. Well, the Hermit. They needed to spend time alone. They needed to do this in seclusion, alone. They needed to level the reflection. Equal give and take. By themselves. Unemotionally fulfilled. With struggling. With non-spiritual people with no plans. They're figuring out who's on the spiritual path and who's not. Because here comes your son. Look, and the strength card, because you're the one that told him how to do it. Boom, shakalaka. Shocking revelation of the 2 of Cups and the Star. My love, this is soulmate healing through the strength, courage, power, wisdom of a Leo through your light. Oh my gosh. I love you guys. Good job, buddy.